A very good evening to you. And welcome along once again to Sweet and Swing here on Max Radio. My name's Howard Kane. As always on a Friday night, a great pleasure to have your company. And what have we got? More jazzing the classics, of course. A bit more from Flanders and Swan with this little retrospective we're doing. Celebrating the Sun with Jobim. And to start us off, what the Isle of Man government thinks every time at this time of the year.
We're in the money, we're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get on. We're in the money, the skies are sunny. Oh man, depression, you are through, you done us wrong. Never see a headline about a bread line today. And when we see the landlord, we could look that guy right in the eye. We're in the money, come on my honey. Let's spend it, lend it, send it rolling on. Gone are my blues and gone are my tears. I've got good news to shout in your ears. The silver dollar has returned to the fold. With silver you can turn your dreams to gold. We're in the money. We're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along. We're in the money. The skies are sunny. Oh man, depression, you are through, you done us wrong. We never see a headline about bread line today. And when we see the landlord, we can look that guy right in the eye. We're in the money, come on my honey. Let's spend it, lend it, send it rolling on. That guy right in the eye. We're in the money. Come on, my honey. Let's spend it, lend it, send it rolling along.
Good way to get going, isn't it? And yes, that's what we celebrate here on the Isle of Man every TT fortnight. We're in the money. Everything's branded, and even the very utterance of the word TT costs at least 50p. Or so it seems anyway, doesn't it? Seems to be the way it's going. Perhaps I'm a little bit tongue-in-cheek there, but you know what I mean, I think, if you're a certain age in any case. Welcome along, as always, to Sweet and Swing. Not a TT special, but it is TT, so I'm sure you won't have failed to notice that. And could be listening in foreign climes, or you could be listening trackside. Who knows? It's one of the two options by and large, isn't it, TT, on the Isle of Man. It's a Marmite thing, as far as I can see, people love it or they hate it. And if they hate it, the chances are they'll quite often try and either just escape it altogether and leave the Isle of Man or lock themselves in a dark room for a week or two and not venture out. And who can blame them? On the other hand, some people love the whole thing, the roar of the engines and the smell of the petrol and the danger and the daring and all the people, etc., etc., and embrace it wholeheartedly. And I'm not going to say one is wrong and one is right. Whatever you're going to do, hopefully stay safe over the next couple of weeks and enjoy it if you are enjoying it, and enjoy whatever you're doing if you're not. Life's too short not to enjoy something or other, isn't it? We're in the money, of course. Don't know how much money it brings in. It's still an argument that's been raging over years, isn't it? How much the TT produces. Dick Powell with orchestral accompaniment. I don't actually know a great deal about Dick Powell, to be honest with you. 1933 it was recorded. I can tell you a little bit about 1933, though, which seems to some echoes here and there of current times. Unemployment wasn't that good. Over 2 million in 1933. The Prince of Wales, later of course the Duke of Windsor, undertook a series of visits to the underprivileged areas of the country. The first Lions Corner House opened in London, and if you've ever used the Underground in London, the new map, the one we see now, appeared for the first time in 1933. Yes, cast your mind back, is all I can say. What happened in sport? Let's see. Arsenal win the First Division, Everton take the FA Cup, and in cricket, the controversial Bodyline Cricket Tour of Australia ended with England winning the Ashes. Yes, it was controversial, wasn't it? And in the arts, Dame Janet Baker, the opera singer, was born. Well, I was thinking we'll sort of stay stateside, I suppose, because if you listen to the lyrics of We're in the Money, of course, it's not about the Isle of Man or the pound. It was all about coming out of the Depression and America getting back onto its feet and finding the Yankee dollar again, etc., etc., etc. So we'll stay stateside, as I say, and join Mantovani in his early years with a Swedish Rhapsody. Well, that's pretty dramatic, wasn't it? It's definitely on the sweet side, I suppose. I don't even know it was sweet. Mantovani normally falls into the sweet category, but that was some early Mantovani. Tangos, concertos, and other light music. Could have gone into, a little light music with Morris, couldn't it? Maybe I should pass that one over to him. Mantovani and his orchestra, the early years. Annunzio Paolo Mantovani, born in Venice. What a great place to be born. In 1905. During the 50s, of course, he achieved, I suppose it was global fame, wasn't it, through his LPs? They sold in millions. And I think it was that sound, like a lot of people, of artists who do so well, it's finding a unique sound that people latch onto. And in this case, it was those cascading strings, a sound created for him in the early 50s by Ronald Binge. But he was a great performer. He performed the Bruch Violin Concerto when he was just 16. And his father had been principal violinist at La Scala, Milan, under Arturo Toscanini. So as you can gather, he seemed to have rather a good heritage and was rather skilled at what he did. It wasn't just luck, lots of skill and hard work as well. Family moved to England when he led the Covent Garden Orchestra in 1912. And the young Mantovani embraced the popular music of the day through listening to all the radio and such like, and working in the leading London theatres, and of course the restaurants and the hotels had bands and live music playing with these sort of players, and trained up on violin and piano, and then got on to arranging as well. A natural progression for him, and by 1923 he had a quintet in the Midland Hotel in Birmingham, and another gentleman playing with him then we've heard quite frequently here on Sweet and Swing. And that's George Mellecrino, a young George Mellecrino, was playing with him in the 20s, which is when Mantovani's recording career began. I quite like that, actually, something a bit different. I could pass it on to Morris Powell, as I say, to play on Thursday evenings. You might have heard him last night with a little light music. Always a great joy, as are all the specialist programmes, of course. Ian Cottier, longest, we reckon, in the world continuous brass band programme, Time for Brass on Monday. John Barker continuing the wonderful work of his predecessor, John Caneen, on the folk show and bringing some whole new sounds to it, but keeping that ethos and wonderful, some great music on there, folk, all sorts of stuff, really good these days. Wednesday, of course, it's opera time with Ernie, if you're an opera buff, as indeed my sister isn't. I enjoy opera more now than I've ever done in my life. I think perhaps you grow into opera, I don't know. Thursday, it's a little light music. Tonight, of course, here we are. We all know where we are tonight. And tomorrow, it's with brother Chris, myself and Chris, with jumping in the modern side of the jazz spectrum. Toe the water, if you dare, is all I can say. I'll stay with this TT theme, well, maybe we'll stay with the weather and the TT themes. Not often we get one sort of sunny TT in 4 or something, don't we? I don't know. So you can guarantee next year it's going to pour down. This year it looks like it's going to be quite good. So I thought, looking out the window as we were doing this, at the lovely cruiser which has been in the bay today. Been some great cruise liners coming in. And the boat going back and forth, bringing the TT fans over on a steamer coming over.
On a steamer coming over, life began all anew. A perfect sea, a sunny sky, for there was she and there was I. What could we do? I knew I was a lucky rover. Every day our love grew. Our hopes were high, our hearts were free, and she and I were both at sea. What could we do? Sweet romance seemed to fill the air. It caught us unaware. We kissed one night beneath a yellow moon. And right then and there, we started humming a happy wedding tune. 'Twas on a steamer coming over. We both vowed to be true. A perfect sea, a sunny sky, for there was she and there was I. What could we do?
Was on a steamer coming over. Life began all anew. A perfect sea, a sunny sky, for there was he and there was I. What could we do? I knew I was the lucky rover. Every day our love grew. Our hopes were high, our hearts were free, and he and I were both at sea. What could we do? Sweet romance seemed to fill the air. It caught us unaware. We kissed one night beneath a yellow moon. And right then and there, we started humming a happy wedding tune. 'Twas on the steamer coming over. We both vowed to be true. A perfect sea, a sunny sky, for there was he and there was I. What could we do?
Steamer coming over, we both vowed to be true. A perfect sea, a sunny sky, for there was she and there was I. What could we do?
Been no shortage of people on a steamer coming over for the last few days, and probably for the next few days. Where does it peak? I don't know. If you've been listening to the news, it seems that the changes they're making to the TT schedule are affecting how people come over. For years and years, of course, it was that straight practice week and then race week with Mad Sunday in between. But gradually it's all been changing in the last 2 or 3 years, changing a bit more rapidly. And, well, I don't know, you'll have seen the changes, I suppose, won't you? Changes around the course, the emergency lighting, the wonderful grandstand opposite there with the great old scoreboard, which, to celebrate its heritage and the heritage of the race, has been binned off altogether in favour of, well, nothing at the moment, I think. Hopefully something will appear again at some stage, but you think no longer, perhaps, will the Scouts and Cubs be able to take part and have something to talk in years to come about how they were involved in the TT when Agostini or whatever. You get the impression that's quietly being pushed to one side in favour of a nice digital scoreboard that's in keeping with Formula One racing and such like, the modern technology. Maybe they're missing the point. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing the point. Time will tell, as it always does. In any case, Phyllis Robbins singing that one again in a steamer coming over. Henry Hall, Les Allen and Phyllis Robbins, as people do stream over. It might peak this weekend, perhaps, but the first race is, Saturday, isn't it? So we'll find out. Plenty of people at the moment. Phyllis Robbins herself, well, very popular when she was still a young girl, teamed up with her talented elder sister to appear as a ukulele singing double bill called, with a fair degree of imagination, Iris and Phyllis, the Juvenile Entertainers. Didn't spend too much time thinking that name up, did they? They did pantomime and a variety of performances, and then she was invited to guest with Jack Hilton. Charlie Kuntz, Ambrose as well, took her on, and Blue Lies before she joined Henry Hall in 1933. And then a year later she left to go solo and was accompanied by pianist Jack Phillips. She went on to the land during the war, I believe. She was like some land girl, worked as a farmer's wife, I think, but did go on to entertain the troops in Berlin. Not singing, though. I don't know what she was doing. And then went on touring after that. She was one of the first of the regular television broadcasters from Alexander Palace. Yeah, if you cast your mind back, mine doesn't go that far. And she was also the second televised subject of a 1-hour documentary series on top girl vocalists. Only Anne Shelton came before her, with the one and only Petula Clark following behind. Henry Hall said she was the best singer he ever had. Well, she certainly had a great voice. I'm not going to disagree with that. We're having great weather at the moment, which is rather nice. Unusual, perhaps. As I say, do you have 3 sort of rubbishy TTs, then one really sunny one where it just has sun from beginning to end? Are we having one of those this year? Looks like it might be that way. In which case, I thought we could celebrate with a bit of sort of warm music, something from the Antonio Carlos Jobim songbook, So how about one that I used to play with the old maestro, lovely Latin number, Wave. evergreen Oscar Peterson back in the 1960s, I think. Yeah, I know. Recent for Sweet and Swing, it has to be said, with Wave, from the Antonio Carlos Jobim songbook. I thought we'd do that to celebrate the sort of warm weather we've been having. Well, warm for the Isle of Man. When you're getting into the dizzy heights of 16 and 17, you normally see people in the countryside beginning to strip off the outer layer of cardigans and down to just one or two pairs of trousers. It is that time of the year. I always remember many years ago going to a Tynwald Day garden party where the sun was out and there was a lady with a hat on and a coat and cardigan underneath and a sort of blouse or something underneath that, complaining to her friend as the sun came out and it got into the dizzying heights of, like yesterday or today, 16, 17 degrees. It's just too warm, you know, Mildred. It's just too warm. And I did want to go over and say, do you think you would maybe take your coat off? Might help. I don't know. But I didn't, because I was just too polite. But I think we should celebrate the sun while it's here. And the TT, I suppose, as well, if we're that way inclined. Yes, Oscar Peterson with a great lineup. Klaus Ogerman's orchestra with Sam Jones on bass, Bobby Durham at the drums. And, yeah, nice band. I don't think I've actually played that one before. Oscar, I know, a bit florid for some people, but I know the old maestro was also a great fan, as am I, in many ways. Some Cole Porter, I think. Sounds like a nice antidote to that. Be like the bluebird.
There's an old Australian bush song that Melba used to sing, a song that always cheers me when I am blue. Even Melba said this bush song was a hell of a song to sing. So be quiet whilst I render it for you. When your instinct tells you that disaster is approaching you faster and faster, then be like the bluebird and sing tweet, tweet, tra-la-la-la-la-la. When you know you're headed for the jailer, don't allow the old face to look paler, but be like the bluebird and sing tweet, tweet, tra-la-la-la-la-la. Be like the bluebird who never is blue, for he knows from his upbringing what singing can do. And though by other birdies in the boughs he may be told that his efforts are perfectly lousy, he sings on and on till his troubles are through. Tweet, tweet, tra-la-la-la-la-la. And though much wiser birds who do more thinking say each note in his throat is to say the least thinking, he sings on and on till his troubles are through. Tweet, tweet, tra-la-la-la, la-la.
Cole Porter himself at the keyboard with a song from Anything Goes, if you remember that. Be like the bluebird. Cole Porter playing and singing with his own piano accompaniment recorded in New York in January of 1935. Whether you'd call him a natural vocalist or not, I don't know, but a great musician, great lyricist as well. You can't really knock it, can you? Terrific stuff. And I like those original recordings. You really feel something sort of bit of hiss going on there, and it just sort of feels like not quite you were there, but it sort of somehow brings back the time of the era, I think, in many ways. I think it was all digitised and sort of made really tight, then you might not feel that same way, but just, I love it when you sort of sometimes just get transported with songs, and that one just did it for me, listening to that. Don't ask me why, one of the magic of music, one way or another. Still to come, we've got some Flanders and Swan, of course, as we continue our little look into our retrospective of their work, and also I think a bit of the swinging guitar. I found another one I found on the dusty shelves as I've been trying to organise this stuff, not very effectively, it has to be said. I need a good rainy day to do it, I think. The swinging guitar of Tal Farlow. Haven't had Tal Farlow on for a long time. I think he has been on Sweden Swing before, but not for quite some time. But before all that, we'll continue with our Jazzing the Classics, and I'm fairly certain I promised you last week we would take Anitra's Dance. So again, our little mini-series at the moment, going on of Jazzing the Classics, vintage style, the music of Grieg, Chopin, Tchaikovsky, Rachmaninoff and Rimsky-Korsakov by the likes of Tommy Dorsey, Frank Sinatra, Glenn Miller et al. Grieg it is this evening, brought to us by John Kirby. That's the way you do it. Grieg, as you might not have heard it before, John Kirby and the boys playing their Anitra's Dance from Peer Gynt, if memory serves correct, by Grieg, of course. And I remember falling in love with Peer Gynt and the music from that when I was really quite young, and I could play one or two tunes on the piano. It was one of those ones where I was pretty lazy trying to learn piano, but there were a couple of tunes from Peer Gynt that I really enjoyed, and got the music and amazed my piano teacher by actually learning to play them. Not brilliantly, but all right, as they say. Edvard Grieg died in 1907, what did he say? Oh, fair game, as it's listed on this. He was fair game for a bit of jazzification. Anitra's Dance from his incidental suite number 1 for Ibsen's Peer Gynt. Give him some great readings there by the biggest little big band, it always used to be called, didn't it? John Kirby. on string bass and his orchestra. Charlie Shavers on the trumpet there. Buster Bailey on clarinet. Russell Prokop on alto saxophone. Billy Kyle piano. And O'Neill Spencer. Great name. O'Neill Spencer, who, of course, was rather a fine drummer. Sweet and Swing with H. Lovely to have your company as ever. Some Flanders and Swan coming up in a moment. But before that, I dug this one out from the shelves as well. The Swinging Guitar of Tal Farlow. I remember seeing this one knocking round when I was having to clear Music Man HQ. This is one of the ones that made it up here to the Black Satanic Mill at Manx Radio. And I don't think I have featured it before. It's some of the original recordings, some of the Norman Granz recordings. Tal Farlow, again, an undersung hero on jazz guitar for many going back in the day, and this is a nice little selection of some of his best. Swinging like a waterfall, it says, with rare resourcefulness of fresh conception. Exactly what I thought, I think. Or you could just ignore all that and enjoy the music. Let's have a listen to this one, Like Someone in Love.
bless you for being an angel just when it seemed that heaven was not for me. No, I never thought I'd get to heaven, no, but bless you for building a new dream just when my old dream crumbled so helplessly in that vine-covered chapel on the hill, way up on the hill. Your face was a hymn that lingers still. So bless you, my darling, my angel. Heaven is mine, and life is divine with you. Bless you, my darling, my angel. Heaven is mine, and life is divine with you, with you.
A little twofer for you there. So Tal Farlow, first off. The swinging guitar of Tal Farlow. And I hope you agree, it does swing. He was a great player in many ways. As it says in the liner notes, ask any professional guitarist in jazz, that is, to name his own favourite guitarists. 10 to 1 he'll name in this order: Segovia, Charlie Christian and Tal Farlow. Whether that holds true today or not, I think this was written a few years ago. Segovia for his complete mastery of the instrument and his consummate musical artistry. The late Christian for his powerful jazz drive and original concept of the guitar's role in jazz. And Farlow as the currently operating individual who has carried the instrument to the most advanced and satisfying stage in modern jazz. It's written by Bill Simpson, but I think that'd be back in the, I'm just trying to look, 1960s, would that be? Somewhere around there. Suffice to say, none of them are still around anymore, to the best of my knowledge. Then straight in to a little bit of Fats Waller, of course. Unmistakable. And perhaps one of his lesser-known tracks, Bless You. Well, I say lesser known for Fats. Still think it's a great number. Really enjoyed that one, but there's much better ones. Like I was going to play My Very Good Friend the Milkman, but as that was a little dedication for John and Sheila, regular listeners to the show, and Sheila had been in contact to say that she was having to go into hospital for an operation in early June, and thought a little bit of Fats Waller. I know she likes a bit of Fats Waller because she said, "Oh, some Fats would be nice." So hopefully, it just might help to put a little bit of a smile on their face. I'll play some more Fats Waller in the next week or two as well to try and keep you smiling, Sheila. one way or another. And bless you, as Fats would say. We hope everything goes as well as these things can. Flanders and Swan. We'll continue our retrospective, an unusual one this, because I think it mostly, if not exclusively, features Donald Swan playing and singing, which is quite unusual. None the worse for that.
When I was a young man, I hadn't a penny. When shall we marry, my Molly would say. But I was a wise man and said to my darling, love that is true love will not fade away. Oh, the youth of the heart and the dew in the morning. You wake and they've left you without any warning. I went to America looking for money. I worked all the day and I slept all alone. The sweet silver dollars I saved for my darling, to clothe her in satin and make her my own. Oh, the youth of the heart and the dew in the morning. You wake and they've left you without any warning. I came back to Ireland, my pockets a jingle, and the wedding bells rang as I came down the street. Oh, where is the colleen I've come back to marry? I asked the first neighbour I happened to meet. Oh, the youth of the heart and the dew in the morning. You wake and they've left you without any warning. Your love has grown weary of keeping her kisses and learning a song that will never be sung. This morning your Molly has married another, a penniless man with a heart that is young. Oh, the youth of the heart and the dew in the morning. You wake and they've left you without any warning. So all you young lovers all ready to marry, remember my story and mind what I say. For I was a wise man and now I am sorry. The wisdom of winter is madness in May. Oh, the youth of the heart and the dew in the morning. You wake and they've left you without any warning.
Ah, yes. Yes, wise words indeed from Donald Swan there, from At the Drop of a Hat. Like I say, they would do the occasional sort of solo numbers, best known for playing and singing together, of course, mostly with Donald Swan playing the piano and the words by Michael Flanders with his wonderful stentorian tones singing away. But yes, Donald Swan was equally capable of coming up with lyrics and singing as well as his wonderful piano playing. The youth of the heart. Bit of a sad song at the end of the day, wasn't it, really? Donald setting of words by his old friend Sidney Carter in this particular case, a man of folk and near-folk lyric writer and composer of a famous number, which I think everyone will have heard of, I dare say, The Lord of the Dance. Yes, 'twas he, Sidney Carter, who also wrote the words for The Youth of the Heart and the music provided in this particular instance by Donald Swan from At the Drop of a Hat. A warning for us all, I think, isn't it? Yes. Youth doesn't last very long, and take your opportunities when they're there. Worry about everything else later, I think. But it is true, isn't it? You wake up one morning and you look in the mirror and you think, what happened? What's happened? I was 23 the other day, and now look at me. I'm 60. Make the most of it, as they say, and this weather. Stay safe with those bikes out. We will be back to try and keep things smiley and happy. Same time, same place, next week. Cheerio.